Good afternoon and welcome to Port St. Lucie. And this is lesson 7 of the making of modern China. And today we're going to look at the early policies and later policies of Mao Zedong, his successes and his failures. Early in the takeover of mainland China in 1949, Mao Zedong had many early successes as far as maintaining price controls and equality for women. Those were two of his biggest accomplishments in the very early 50s. However, there were some ill-advised policies that he tried to institute that did not work, and among those included the Great Leap Forward, which was a great leap off the cliff. It didn't really work very well. Um, this was about steel production. Everybody was going to produce steel. Even little people in the villages and towns tried to make a little bit of steel and contribute to the national steel production goal. But that didn't work. Steel production is for professionals. It should be done by major corporations and not from little families in the fields in the countryside. So that didn't work. The second policy that didn't work in the 1950s was communes. Communes was a very highly socialistic practice where everybody shared food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they shared living quarters, they shared school teaching quarters, they shared everything, pretty much. And this was okay in the beginning of the regime in the very early 1950s because people were starving. And when you're starving, a commune is better than starving. So the communes were an improvement over the existing condition of millions of poor and starving Chinese. However, as time progressed and people had their natural capitalistic instincts of gaining more property, gaining more money, making a profit, um, the communes lost a great deal of their attraction because now people had food and they had shelter and they didn't need communes anymore. And as millions and millions of Chinese left the commune system gradually died out and did not work anymore. So I wouldn't actually say the commune system was a failure. I would say the commune system was a good socialist experiment that was successful in the beginning, but was doomed in the long run to failure because of the natural forces of capitalism. In that respect, um, as Mao began to lose power as a result of a few poor decisions, he tried to regain his power through the students of China um, in the 1960s with the Cultural Revolution. And this is another idea that started out as a good idea and then went really bad really quickly and turned into a nightmare. The Cultural Revolution said, in with the news and out with the olds. Well, progress is good, and it's good to have, in with the news. It's good to have new blood. It's good to replace old ways and antiquated ways. But when you go overboard with that concept, as they did in the Cultural Revolution, it becomes catastrophic to the economy, particularly when young college students try to take over mining companies and railroads and hospitals. That's not going to work. Millions of people died as a result of these decisions, putting teenagers or barely out of their teens in charge of hospitals. Millions of people died from not being treated properly. So this was a absolute horrible failure for China in the late 60s and early 70s, and it didn't really end until Mao left, and then Xiaoping took the reins of Chinese leadership. Um, when Mao finally left, China was in a pretty catastrophic situation from the Cultural Revolution, and Deng had a lot of work to do to repair the economic damage. but we'll cover that in our next episode. This is Professor Tefero from Port St. Lucie, wishing you all a happy and healthy night. Take care.